Morning.
Good morning.
Well, since I couldn't hide it, we play sports on it. Our football, our soccer, golf. It's in our parks. We let our kids play on it. We even play on it. We love to have picnics on it. Driving up to the school, we notice that it's surrounded in it, and most likely our homes are surrounded in it. What I'm talking about today is lawn grasses, or as I like to call them, turf grasses. Interesting thing is, I was reading this book again, and Warren Schultz says there's about 30 million acres of lawn in the United States. That's 30 million acres. I did a conversion on that, and that was like 43,700 square miles of lawn. Now, to put that in perspective, Idaho is about 83,000 square miles, so that would be over half the state entirely covered in lawn grass. So that was quite interesting. And this, unfortunately, was 10 years ago, so it's probably exceeded that by now. That was just home lawns. That didn't include parks, even our acreages around our schools and such as that. So, what I would actually like to talk about today is a little history on turf grass, and at least in the valley, and the three different types of grasses that you'll normally see in our lawns. In the 70s, the turf farms, a lot of them produced mainly just bluegrass, Kentucky bluegrass. And they did that primarily because the way a bluegrass grows is when they seed it in, and as a plant expands, it sends rhizomes for new plants. Makes kind of a webbing underneath. And then when the sod cutter comes along, it makes it easier to hold it together, roll it, slab it, and move it to your lawn. So you have brown dirt one day and green lawn the next. This is all well and good, except as the more that they produced, more homes out there, then the billbugs came. When they come, they just march from one lawn to the next, and you would see brown patches that you could pull out where they had devastated it. That was mainly in the 70s. As you move more towards the 80s, then one of the doctors, I don't have this in my thing, but Dr. Fred Ledborg, who used to actually live in Meridian, Idaho, had discovered a fungus in one of the ryegrasses. And Miller writes something on it that I liked in the Scott's book. Endophytes are naturally occurring fungi that live within some grasses in a symbiotic relationship. The grass is a source of food for the endophytes, but rather than harming the grass, they benefit it. While endophyte lives and grows, it produces chemicals that repel insects such as cinch bugs and sod wedworms. Also the other grubs that were the cinch bill bugs in these. This is the ryegrass. Then more so towards the 90s, we started having more droughts. So then they introduced the tall fescues, which are more drought resistance. Okay. Back to the bluegrass, what I want to talk about it for identification. When I used to go out to lawns, people would ask, what kind of grass do they have? So one of the easiest things to do is the leaf structures. On a bluegrass, if you look at the ends of it, it's kind of like a boat tip, like that. And then if you were to open up the grass, the leaf of the grass, and look down the center vein, you'll see two lines that run down the center of it. That's the easiest way to tell what a bluegrass plant looks like. They almost all bluegrasses have that characteristic. Ryegrasses, they're actually a little bit finer, and when they come out of the sheath, you'll notice that the blade of the grass is almost folded in half. And then as it grows, it starts to open up. On the end of it, it becomes very pointy. And then, as you can see with the tall fescue, It also comes up, but its blade, leaf blade, is a little more open, and you can see veins down it. What was really good about the finding of the ryegrass and the endophytes is one of the ways that they made the bluegrass a little better was they would put the ryegrass with the bluegrass, and this helped reduce the insects' devastation in the lawns. So the good thing about the tall fescues is for like in the drought, the root structure will actually go down 3 feet or more, where the blues and ryes are only about a foot. So that was kind of one of the things about it. So, well, I just kind of wanted to bring a little attention to the lawn grasses, kind of show you a little bit difference on the leaf structures and how you can identify them. And I hope this helps you identifying the lawns and your grasses.